On this episode of Andy's Autosport TV, we're going to improve the looks of our project vehicles with some aftermarket taillights. When purchasing a taillight assembly from andysautosport.com, they come completely assembled with the taillight housing, the lens, and the dust cover. In the case of LED lights, the LEDs are pre-installed. All you literally do is just plug it into your factory harness. Now, if you're buying an Altezza style light, they will retain the factory bulbs from your original equipment. In some cases, the bulbs may need to be upgraded, and in the case of Spider, those bulbs come in the package. Now, there are basically two styles of lights. You have the Altezza, also known as the Euro style light. Now, these use a filament style bulb, and then you have the LED lights like this one right here. This has a bunch of LEDs in here. Now, they both come in a wide range of styles. They come in either the smoked, the carbon, the chrome, and of course, the black lenses. So a question we get quite a bit is, are all the taillights that we sell at andysautosport.com DOT compliant? The answer is no, and let's talk about DOT for a second. DOT stands for Department of Transportation. Now, what they are is a government entity that is designed to put forth the regulations for street legal vehicles. So in order to be DOT compliant, what you really need to look for in a taillight is a turn signal that is red, and that the brake light is red, and that they're not smoked. That'll pretty much ensure that your taillights are probably DOT compliant. Another question we get is, there an additional effort to installing our taillights? The answer is in most cases, no, there's not. They literally just plug into the factory harness. However, always read the manufacturer's instructions, because there are certain things that you need to do. For example, on LED taillights, they are one directional. They have a positive and a negative, and it's very important that those are plugged in the correct way. Most of the time, they plug directly into the factory harness, but there are times where you have a blade style light that you can actually install that harness upside down. That'll burn out the taillights or possibly pop a fuse. So always make sure you follow the manufacturer's recommendations and follow those instructions when you're installing taillights. Now let's do some installs. We've got a bucket full of Spider taillights for our Andy's Autosport project vehicles, and they have a great range of designs and styles to fit most vehicles. So we didn't hesitate to grab Spider when it was time to fix up our vehicles. We're going to start with our Chevy truck. We're going to replace these stock taillights with a set of black Spider LEDs. Okay, so on our Chevrolet pickup truck, we just need to take these two screws out right here, and that'll allow us to pop the taillight assembly off. Most aftermarket LED taillights utilize the factory filament style bulb for the backup lights. So you'll need to remove that from your old housing, pop it in the new socket, and then place it in your housing. Now all we do is plug in our harness, reinstall our screws, now we're going to move on to our Ford F-250 and install our Spider LED taillights and replace these. Pull the taillight off into our hands. Now we're just going to pop these two lights out, very simple. Now with Spider, our new taillight comes with brand new grommets. So we're going to replace our grommets on our light bulbs with these new ones supplied by Spider. Since our new taillights are LEDs, we don't actually need this bulb. Now these just pull right out of these. They just pop right out. You can save that and use it as a spare now for your backup light. It's the same type of bulb. We're going to leave the backup light in there because the backup side is not an LED, so it uses the factory bulb. But we're still going to replace the grommet. This keeps moisture out of the taillight assembly. Now, this pigtail assembly fits in place just like the factory bulb did. Pop it in like that, then feed the wires into the taillight assembly. Twist it into place. Lock that into place. Taillight pops in, and then put your screws back in. And there we have our taillight install. Okay, now on our Project Integra, we're going to replace our factory lights with these clear Altezas from Spyder. Now, on some vehicles, when you're installing the taillights, you'll have to remove some interior trim panels on your car, like our Project Integra here. Now, this has some little clips up here at the top, and you pop those loose. Then you actually pop this panel completely out of your way to expose the nuts that you need. We also have this little panel here that pops out of place. Now, this is designed mainly to replace the bulb, so it doesn't really give us enough access to these nuts back here to go ahead and replace it. But if you have a handy dandy gear wrench, which you can purchase on the tools section at andysautosport.com, you can get into those tough spots without having to take that trim panel off. Okay, now we're going to transfer our bulbs from our old taillight assembly into our new taillight assembly, and they just pop out just like you're going to replace the bulbs. They just unscrew. And just tuck your harness in so that it's not in the way of any of your screws. Now we go ahead and put our nuts back on. Now we're going to replace our factory taillights on our Mini Cooper with these from Spyder. Now, one of the things that's a little different on this is the Spyder taillights on this one, the actual backup light actually uses a different style of bulb. Okay, with our Mini Cooper install, the lights are a little bit different. This one actually has a bulb that is different than what came in the factory deal, and I'll show you that in just a second. But there's one bulb that has a dual element, and you can see the two pins on the bottom. Also notice the pins on the side, these locator pins, they're at different heights. So this will only go in the socket one way. You pop it in the socket like that, and then just put it in the housing. Now this bulb here is different from the factory bulb. This is the factory backup bulb, and this is the one we're going to replace with now. Now with Spyder, if one of your factory bulbs doesn't work, it actually comes in the kit. So this bulb came with our Spyder kit, so you don't have to worry about going to the store and buying anything. You pop that in your taillight housing, install it in there, reconnect our harness. So now you should be ready to purchase a set of those aftermarket taillights and install them yourself. It's a great cost-effective way to really customize the looks of your vehicle. And you can see what it's done for our project vehicles. Popular brands we carry are Spyder, spec-d, Depot, also known as Max Zone. We hope you've learned something today, and we'll see you on another episode of Andy's Autosport TV.